Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 103 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's getting infected by parasites today with me tonight?
Michael X. Hughes.
And Dominic X. Cichocki. Hello.
Nice, and welcome back.
Thank you.
You were on our Metroid Zero mission episode, which I don't remember what number that was.
It was about a year ago, so probably minus 52 or so, maybe 55.
Something like that. Well, a lot more, but it's somewhere in the 50s. They had a number. All right, and while I'm looking that up, Dominic, why don't you mention where people might know you from?
Oh, I write things for TiltingWindmillStudios.com. I'm on the Overblood Facebook group. Big Game Informer fan, big Giant Bomb fan. I don't know, wherever else you might know me from.
Episode 43, by the way, was Metroid Zero Mission.
Really? That seems so long ago.
Yeah, it's 103. Damn, we do not do enough Metroids in the series, in the show.
This is the third one?
Yeah. And we're going to be covering from our favorite year, the best year ever from gaming, Metroid Fusion from 2002.
This was the best 2002 game we've played so far in the show, at least since I joined.
You telling me Blood Omen 2 was not your favorite?
I wouldn't know. I didn't finish it.
That's okay, nor did they.
I tried to die to get out of playing it.
Fuck that game. That game was terrible. That's part of the reason why I make so many jokes about 2002 now on the show, because just that game is just so bad to me.
Oh, Blood Omen 2002?
Yeah.
It was Star Wars Bounty Hunter, and then Blood Omen, and then Eternal Darkness, which you had problems with.
Good game, but
it's like everything we've picked from that year so far has been it's been something.
Ratchet.
Well, you know it came out the same day as Metroid Fusion.
Metroid Prime.
Exactly.
Are they that? Are they that close together? I thought they were just like.
It was the same day.
Why would you do that?
Because there hadn't been one since Super Metroid, so they're like, let's put two out on the same day to make up for it, I guess.
It was 8 years since Super Metroid came out that this game came out, it says.
You know what's even weirder? What's even weirder is the Prime sequels basically take the story of Fusion and just do it again.
Pretty much.
Oh, the Dark Aeon suit?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's the same plot.
That's okay. People didn't play this game, probably.
Which is weird, because they should.
Well, one, this is a very different Metroid game, because it's not as Metroidvania as much as it's very linear too. It's not that I mean, you can explore, but I mean, I printed out a map. I didn't need the map that I made. I didn't even look at it. And if you know me, I look at maps all the time because I don't like getting lost. So I'm like, I'll just reference my map, and I didn't need to in this game because it just told me what to do.
What's the name of the space station? Does that have a name?
It does.
Is it SR388? Yeah, SR388. No, that's the planet.
That's the planet.
It has a name, I can tell you that much. I just don't know.
Isn't it like the SRS or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Game takes place on some apparently unnamed space station.
I have notes for a reason. Why can't I even find it in my notes?
And each of the locations you visit are just like sectioned off biomes, I guess, for lack of a better word. Everything's very condensed and linear, like Mike said.
But I don't have as much of a problem with that. One, I do want to I should mention how this game starts, though, too. Like, this game has a very different beginning. One, if you follow the Metroid timeline, which probably most people don't give a shit about, except for me, this is the end of the chronological timeline so far at the time of this recording in 2020.
Right.
It's the Biologic Space Laboratories Research Station.
Oh, yes, the BSL.
BSL. Like, every generic sci-fi word we're just going to throw together there.
Also known as a place where we do a lot of bad stuff that we don't want you to know about. I mean,
yeah, no kidding.
Like the whole thing starts off that she's a bodyguard escort some no-name scientist, and they go down to SR33, which is the planet from Metroid 2, where the Metroids are from, which nobody would really remember at this point, because did anyone even really play? I've never played Metroid 2.
I have.
Yeah, I played it when it was relevant, but that's been so long ago.
I can change that.
I played it a few years ago. It's actually not bad. You just gotta I
really want to.
You just gotta puzzle through some parts of it. Like, oh, this is what this means. Okay, I guess that doesn't make sense, but it makes sense.
I won't be playing blind.
You really don't need to. Just play either AM2R or Samus Returns. It's the same game.
What if I told you that I want to play all three and do different episodes on each one?
That's ambitious.
I'm down for that. That's fun.
The idea is there. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen, but the idea is there, because Metroid 2 would probably be a mini if we did it.
Yeah, even though it's not so many to play through.
Yeah, I know that's the other issue. That's why it hasn't been discussed yet off the air. But so you go down to this planet and she finds some random little monster that she kills. And after killing the monster, this X-parasite little yellow thing appears and ends up infecting her power armor. And then it's kind of a creepy scene where it shows her go back in her ship. Her ship crashes and then they operate on her.
It's a really effective opening.
It's really dark too.
Yeah, just told with like simple static images, a few lines of text. It was my first Metroid game as a kid. I remember it made a huge impression.
It definitely has the most... up to this point, it's the most story the Metroid game has had. Other M kind of outshines it in that regard. Not in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, because most Metroid 1, I feel like has really no story because it's NES. It probably was in the book or something. But like with Super Metroid, which I can speak to, everything is context clues. Nothing is really given to you. Where this game is just, it gives you a story to start with. It's constantly throwing more and more stuff down your throat. It's constantly telling you everything. Every
time you do any kind of objective, you have to go to the navigation room and talk to the AI so you can tell you where to go next.
And I appreciate that as a difference because it's easy in like a Metroid kind of thing to just have the same formula over and over. Castlevania has done it how many times? So I think it's nice to have. I think it's nice to have at least the one where this one has a little bit more story. It's a little bit more guided. We're gonna try this.
Yeah, that's fair.
I liked it. Like I don't like when you see her being operated on and you just like the suit fused to her body. I don't like that. Just creeps me out though.
They did their job then.
I mean, as I was telling Mike beforehand, this is a horror game.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
straight up.
It's not I don't really consider it an adventure game. I know it isn't like, it's not survival horror. It's not like I'm not afraid to sleep like it was Resident Evil 2 remake, but it did have, it had elements that really kind of like, I don't like also you take a lot of damage in this game, which really, really bothers me.
Especially in that ice section with the giant like particles coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was annoying.
That's such a great thing.
You take more damage per hit in this game than any other game in the franchise.
Which I don't like.
Well, the Japanese version had actual difficulty options, where ours was just stuck on normal. You could pick for easy or hard in that game.
Oh, that would have been better.
Well, you unlock hard when the game is beaten.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But I want easy.
Yeah,
I will say, I am so used to this game, I barely notice the difficulty.
I'll give you props then.
I mean, if you're not getting hit, then...
I think that the most difficult part is when the power goes down, and you have to, like, crawl into that weird, like, obscure place with the spider boss.
Oh, his name is Yakuza, by the way.
Well, naturally, doesn't he look like a Yakuza?
Yeah, sure, okay. I didn't know that until I was looking at bosses. I'm like, who's this? And then it's like, Yakuza. I'm like, what? It was a spider. Yeah. So one thing, like after she gets infected, so they take her back to the station, or does she go to the station because they get a distress call? I can't remember why she goes. No, I think she gets a distress call because they revive her, put her in a new ship. They give her a commanding officer, which is a computer.
Well, they put her in a new suit. We haven't really touched on that yet.
I don't like her new suit.
First game without the power armor, more or less.
She has like whatever the hell is fused to her because it's fusion.
Right.
Because she can't take off the suit at this point.
Yeah.
Well, you're forgetting about the other important thing that happens in the beginning.
The Metroid blood.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They specifically say, then someone found a cure. It's the Metroid. Now Samus is the Metroid.
I mean, the whole idea is that because she killed all the Metroids on this planet, that this X virus now was able to spread and take over because they no longer had a predator. But my question, and then when the DNA saves her, I'm like, how does that DNA, like, if it's a predator, it means it eats it. So if you kill all that animal, they just stop eating it, not all the cells killed it. Like, that's not how this works normally. Like, you don't take a tiger cell and put the tiger cell on the gazelle, and the gazelle just dies. He dies because he goes in his mouth. Like,
well, maybe it happens on a molecular level then.
Yeah, it's different for flying jellyfish and giant bacteria.
All right. It's alien species. We can't comprehend.
Yeah. It's sci-fi. Sci-fi magic.
And then I guess it's supposed to be, I don't know if it's explained in this game, but I do know because I've been watching timeline videos of Metroid a lot this weekend, that Chozo invented the Metroid in order to combat the X.
Interesting.
But at the same time, I feel like the X would just have killed everyone because they're very, very powerful.
Yeah, they're basically the alien from The Thing, where they can kill a creature and then take its form to kill other creatures and then take their form.
Pretty much.
What if the X is supposed to be like the actual big villainous force in the galaxy, and everything's just a prologue to what's supposed to be the actual story? We just never got that story.
I mean, it could be, because they did make the Metroid, it's one of those stories that you just don't get a lot of Metroid. There's not a lot of Metroid in general. They haven't made a lot of games, and they kind of stay away from it for some reason.
Don't worry, Metroid Prime 4 is coming eventually, they say.
Metroid Prime Pinball, of course.
Unfortunately, he's not lying.
Yeah, that was a thing.
I never played it, though.
It's like I worked for Kirby and Mario and Sonic and
Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. Twice for them.
And also, like, this game does the favorite Metroid thing where you're weak. I mean, this case kind of makes sense because you lost your suit, you got damaged, so you don't have. And then they also, like, the government locked away a lot of your abilities and won't let you use them because they don't trust you. And like, they send you to the station that the very generic station name I already forgot, because the X parasites that they took on the ship. They took some, of course, because, why wouldn't you? Alien didn't teach us anything. Right. And they put it on the ship, and I think it breaks free and starts inhabiting other things like, pretty quickly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Basically.
Something causes an explosion and releases things in the quarantine bay.
Okay.
So the X kind of spread throughout the station.
It's not a very good quarantine bay if you could just break something and everything's gone.
Yeah, well, Power Bomb will do that.
Oh, because it's the X went into your old.
Yeah, it took your old suit.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's what they transported to the station was her old parts.
Which again, I feel like that's not a good idea.
I mean, that's because it's researched them because they had never had probably a person infected with X before. I'm assuming.
Exactly.
Plus
the classic horror sci-fi trope. We need to examine this to figure out why it is like it is, and then surely that won't turn horrible.
Oh, it does. It does. And I mean, this game also throws a lot of fake out there. Like, even the first part, like, you don't fight anything, you don't see anything, you just think you maybe kill one monster and just everything's empty as you're trying to explore to figure out what to do. And I thought that was cool too. The very much isolation in this game at first, other than the stupid AI that keeps talking to you all the time.
It's something Metroid's always been good about, is the isolation, though, because it's very, very rare that you see any kind of NPC or any other.
There is nobody else on the ship but you. I mean,
there's that one scientist that you like kill right away
because he's dead.
Yeah, they're all
just a reanimated corpse.
Yeah, I mean, the X-Parrot, like, you have the zombie. Like, this is the first Metroid game with zombies, I think.
More or less.
Or only Metroid game with zombies. Like, it inhabits the dead bodies and they're purple zombies. And I'm like, okay.
And then you have those animal NPCs.
Yeah, there are those. Can't remember what the hell they're called from Super Metroid.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're there, though.
Because they show you how to run or whatever, and then I guess they put them in the station because isn't like the planet like blown up or whatever.
But they're from planet Zebes, but that was blown up, yeah.
So they probably put them there as like to protect them. Because the Sector 1 of this station is SR388 all over again, so I'm not surprised other parts of it are probably just other planets again.
Yeah, I mean, I do like how the station is mainly broke up into 6 parts and that the game tells you right where to go. Like, I didn't have a problem with all the very, very linear gameplay. It
does make it a little easier to get through when you know exactly where you're going, except when you have to stop and open up the security locks because they're not on the map.
Only one I had to actually Google and watch a video, and that was the last one. I could not figure it out.
The fun part is when you beat the game and then you're just given a free reign to go wherever you want, and then you just figure out how everything connects together.
I also like that. I like how it's very connected.
Because there are literally like paths you can find throughout, like shortcuts to different sectors.
Oh, okay. I found a couple, but I didn't really look that hard for them either.
Like once you get the screw attack, everything just opens up.
Yeah. There's a little Easter egg if you can. I think it's before you get the diffusion missiles or before you get the ice missile. I don't know. You can do a bunch of mock blah 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 blah. Fucking word. It's like the only time you could do sequence breaking where you use shine sparks. That's the word it's like for to get to Sector 4, and then you go to the navigation room and they're like, you're not supposed to be here. And some unseen guy from the Federation's talking about how impressed he is. And then at the very end, Adam's like, I wonder how many players will see this message.
Oh, that's fun.
That's cool.
I didn't attempt it, but I knew I wanted to bring it up.
For those that don't know, Shine Spark, where you run fast enough where you get the speed booster in this game, and then you press a button, and then she holds the charge, and you can shoot up certain things. I can never do it, or I never bother.
Yeah, the running is probably my least favorite component of the whole thing.
It's not that useful in this game, I feel like. I know when I played Super Metroid like 2 years ago, I remember running a lot more because you're constantly backtracking. In this game, there aren't a lot of areas where you really get it, where you get going that fast.
Yeah, I feel like it's a limitation of the hardware too, because there's less space, so there's less map to explore to begin with, but it also doesn't have that dedicated run button like Super Metroid had, because there's only 4 buttons on the GBA.
Right, but once you start trying to find all the paths, like, it really starts throwing them at you.
Yeah, I mean, in the way the game gives you upgrades, I think it's not too bad either. Like, I never felt like I went that far without an upgrade. Like, because some of them you get from data rooms, like in the beginning, where like they locked away things from you because they didn't trust like your missiles, and then some stuff you get through bosses that for some reason the X parasites went into like take over things and they hold powers for some reason. I guess
gotta get that Mega Man aspect in there.
I mean, sure. I'm okay with it because I like getting new powers. Like I have no problem with that. It's just odd, and I like how like like we were saying, the X parasite they're cloning bodies, things that whatever, different species that they take over. Like I think one of the first boss you fight is something from Metroid 2. Mm-hmm. I want to say that Arachnus thing. I've never played Metroid 2, so I can't speak.
I think that's right.
I know it's a species native to SR38. It says.
Then probably.
But I like that. I really want to play that.
I do like the caveat that happens where it's like you can't have your ice beam. You just can't.
Yeah, because the Metroid Blood won't allow it
until you get the right suit. But that's later.
I thought that was cool that, because you have Metroid Blood that you can't do certain things. And I mean, I guess that's also why they say that you take so much damage, because you don't have your power suit and you're much weaker and exposed.
But luckily it lets you absorb the X parasites to heal yourself, restore missiles, whatever. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I miss my little purple globs and I miss my little missile globs, but I also don't like that if you don't absorb the X parasite right away, like let's say here, even if I'm at full health, I had to go out of my way because they will go over. If you don't get it after X amount of time, fun, they will spawn another enemy. They'll turn to another enemy somewhere else to interfere with. That I did not like.
Or sometimes they'll combine and make something stronger.
That I really didn't like.
I think that's so fun. I love that.
It's kind of cool.
They make some hard enemies too. Like one time I killed a space pirate and they transformed into a gold space pirate. I'm like, fuck this, and I went right in the door.
Yep. Play enough Super Metroid to know that those guys are assholes.
Well, the gold space pirates are such a pain to beat.
Yep, they're only in one room in this game that I ran into them, but yeah, I was like, nope.
Like you have to beat them in that room, I think.
You have to beat one, thankfully.
Like Super Metroid.
It's Super Metroid you fight 2, right before Ridley, if I remember correctly. But it was not fun. So, never again. But until I actually do it. But I don't know. I did like how this game it constantly pushing you along. It gives you the upgrade, and like it's also easy to kind of tell what upgrade to use in different places because it does a very good job. Like as we mentioned, like the screw attack, there were so many things that blocked areas of the screw attack. I know I could have went back to. I didn't give a shit. Like by the time I got it, I was just like, okay, let's beat the game.
Fair enough.
But that's a me thing. But I never felt like I was locked out from that much. Like usually when I go into an area, I would have a decent amount of powers to get more energy tanks, to get more missiles. Also, I feel like this is one game where you don't need your 200, 300, whatever the hell maximum missiles is. Like, you really don't need that many missiles.
No.
Yeah. I even tried to abuse them quite a bit because it's constantly giving you the red X to restore them. Mm-hmm. But, I very rarely ran out, even just kind of going through them haphazardly.
Which I thought was cool.
Like, getting like 200 plus missiles at a certain.
And then you get the plasma beam, and they're useless anyway.
You get like 40, 50 plus power bombs, too. It's like, why do you need that?
Power bombs are useless in this game, though, except for like if I'm too lazy to look for something.
I don't think it's being lazy. That's just doing what the game wants you to do. Like, only power bomb on the screen, see if anything's available.
Yeah, I never used them in combat, though. I tried a couple times, but they were just too slow for combat.
They should just brought back the X-ray scope, everyone's favorite power-up from Super Metroid.
I vaguely remember what you're talking about.
It's pretty useless once you know where things are.
I do not. I wouldn't have minded, though, in this game. I would have been up for it, because so I didn't really look for stuff that hard. Like, I would find energy tanks, and that was all I cared about in my upgrades.
You definitely want those. Like we said, you're taking way more damage than normal games.
You can tank your way through bosses. I can guarantee you that, because I tried.
Yeah, no.
I mostly was able to beat every boss without, like, save stating abusing. where I could save state before a boss fight and get through it just by playing pretty safely, except for a couple where I had to just every hit was a save state, save state, save state. And one little thing I think this game does is interesting too is it does a lot of foreshadowing. There's a room you walk into where you see a frozen Ridley's body just frozen, and you're like, and you can't go to it. And I like how it does that a lot of times in this game. Like it so much stuff is just kind of thrown at you and tricks you.
Yeah.
Like the only live scientist you see isn't even a scientist. Like you go over and you find out it's just an X that took over his body and is trying to sabotage the station. Except them blowing up the station doesn't make any sense because they blow up the station. That means that then they can't reproduce because nobody will come.
I think they're just trying to take out Samus because they see her as the biggest threat to their species.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was thinking to myself, if you blow up the station that you're on and then you can't, because as an alien like this, you want other people to come so you can affect them, take their ship, and leave.
Yeah.
Well, they're still on the planet.
Yeah, the AI says later on that if the station blows up where it is, it won't take out the planet, and all the ones down there will just breed and leave.
But they can't fly.
Yeah, someone's going to land there eventually.
The Federation will come back and do their thing.
Yeah, the Federation's not very smart. Well, the Federation is Weyland Yutani in disguise, so, there's that. That's all I could think of playing through this game, and as things happen and you find out that they're trying to study the X-Parasite and they want to study the Metroid, I'm like, this is just Weyland Yutani. That's all it is.
Yep.
Which I know Alien is an inspiration for Metroid, though, back in the day, so.
Oh, yeah. We're going to breed them. Like, what could possibly go wrong?
One of the few things that uses, like, the Alien plot and does it well, I think. So many movies, like, try to do it, and it's just like, now we're on, like, a floating ship. Okay, I guess.
Like, I also really like how as the game progresses, the station gets more and more dilapidated and destroyed because you throughout the game, like one of the really big horror elements that I hate when I have to deal with it, but I like it, is the SAX, which is the first time you see it, you see Samus' power armor and you just hear this thud, thud, thud as it's walking, and then you just see these cold, no eyes. Like you just see the face and there's just blank spots where the eyes should be. That is so chilling.
It's really cool.
At least it doesn't follow you around the whole game like Mr. X.
Yeah. Not the whole game.
And then there's a part later where the AI is like, actually, there are like 10 of them now.
I love that.
Like, yeah, we'll take out this one. This one. Are you saying there's more?
I kind of wish they showed that, but...
I'm okay they didn't.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
If you want to see what that would look like, just Google Resident Evil 2 Mr. X mods where everyone's Mr. X, and that'd be about the same thing.
The sequences we have to outrun it are really tense and interesting.
There's only one, I think, where you have to.
Where you have to, I guess, yeah. I mean...
That was terrible.
I would assume everyone kind of, like, trips them up every once in a while anyway. Because there are sequences where they kind of, like, dare you to.
I hide in the corner. I don't come out. I just wait until he passes, and I jump out.
I mean, that's the smart thing, but I know, like, they definitely want you to try.
Yeah, they try to trick you too, but I'm like, nope, I ain't taking your bait.
Even the AI warns you, like, yeah, you don't want to fight that thing. It's got the ice beam, and you're susceptible to it, so just run.
Not kidding.
I mean, like, even the only thing that stops it is the ice beam later. Well, you don't get the ice beam, you get ice missiles later on in this game.
Right.
It's one of the 2 new upgrades.
Was the other
the diffusion missiles?
What is up with that diffusion?
You use it twice to progress, and that's it. You charge it up and then shoot it, and it kind of shoots out a cloud burst, and it freezes anything it touches.
I think a lot of this stuff is also designed to be used post-game as well.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't like it. You have to use it for those stupid puffer things that block your way.
Exactly,
yes.
Yeah.
I really hated that. Because I didn't know what to do, and I was like, okay, I'll come back here with this weapon, and I'm like, what? Why is this not working?
Yeah, those puffer things are annoying.
Yeah, that was the worst.
They're more fun in Super Metroid when you can hit them with the grapple beam and swing around.
Okay, I would have liked it more, because I didn't enjoy the fact that you couldn't really do anything with them. You have to hit them at just like the right angle with the charged up missile.
Mm-hmm.
So
you didn't have to hit them exactly. You could have hit around them as long as the zoo hits them.
Yeah,
that's good onomatopoeia.
It was just I didn't like it. I had that weapon really wasn't that useful either. I mean, I know I tried to use it a few times, but it seemed kind of worthless.
Yeah, it definitely does not have much purpose aside from that.
And once you get the plasma beam, it's really all you need.
Yeah, no, plasma beam was very good. That's mainly what I use throughout this game. Once I got it, I also don't like using missiles in general because you know how I play games. So That shouldn't surprise you. I tried not to. I mean, I would more because it really didn't matter, except there aren't enough. This game does something that other Metroids do, like Super Metroid Zero Mission, if I remember correctly. The save point also refills all your ammo and your health. In this game, you have to find a reload room to refill your health. I don't like that.
Usually they are right next to each other, which is nice.
Yeah, especially when you go down into a sector. You got the navigation room, the save room, and the recharge room all in a line before it dumps you into the section proper.
Yeah, which was fine, but I just really like having that. It makes me feel safer.
What I don't like...
You're good.
What I don't like after a while is how some sections get really hard to navigate. Like, I don't know if it's just something you experience more post-game, but I think it's like Sector 3 or 5. Like, you have to really look at the map and be like, okay, I think I can go down this room because that door is broken. I think I can, like, go down here, even though there's not, like, an entryway. And then it's like, I can go down the lower part here, but it's hard to, like, navigate.
Mm-hmm. I had problems in 4, the water one. Especially the first time you go there and everything's electrified. It's just like, where do I go to get around this mess?
The first time I did that was really annoying. The second time I did it, it wasn't so bad. The third time I did it, I had no problem at all.
Mike, why are you doing the same section multiple times?
Because I realized, unfortunately, and I fucked up the second time, that my emulator, for some reason, if I turned off the emulator, it didn't reload my save. My save was just gone.
Oh, wow.
And the second time, I came and I'm like, I know this, but I unplugged my controller because I was doing something else. And then when I went to plug my controller back in, I'm like, oh, shit. And then it didn't hold my save.
So you got really good at the game.
I got really good at the beginning. And for some weird-ass reason, when I opened up the GB emulator just to check now, it held my save this time. But not the first 2 times. After I beat the game, it holds my save. But yeah, no, when you play the first part like 3 times in a row, it gets way easier. And it wasn't as bad. Like, I didn't have a hard time with the water part. I didn't have any problem with any of that once I knew what to do. I was not happy, though.
Imagine not.
I was a little irritated. But luckily, I mean, that's another thing about this game. Is like, it's fun to go through. Like, it isn't that... It's not a bad game. I had fun. Like, I wasn't that upset that I had to replay the same part 3 times. Now, if this was Deadly Premonition, I would have been very, very upset. But it didn't bother me.
You mean, when you're trailing Nick and you turn on the siren and have to do the whole thing again?
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that.
I don't recommend it.
I mean, along with Zero Mission, I think this is still one of the best GBA games today. Like, it holds up.
Oh, yeah.
It's not as good as Zero Mission, I want to say, from what I remember of Zero Mission, but it's been a very long time.
People are usually really divided. Like, you love one or the other. It's usually not both.
Zero Mission Fusion?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it's just
what I always seem to experience.
Much more explory, where this is much more just play the game, like just go through the game and do what it says.
I love both. I played both as a kid. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, as I was saying before, I really like the fact that it told me what to do because I'm the kind of gamer that I don't want to. I just want to be told because if you don't tell me, I'm just going to look it up and have someone else tell me. So the whole idea of exploring isn't going to happen. So it doesn't matter.
It's the joys of playing a game every week. You get through it as quick as possible.
Even if we didn't have the show, I still play games the exact same way.
I think the story stuff works here. I think the exploration stuff works in Zero Mission, and then Prime works the way it does. It's all different. It works well.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the story. I like how the AI, as a game progresses, the AI at one point, like, you're not supposed to, like we were kind of saying, like, you go in the room, even if the game itself is like, you're not supposed to be here. You need to leave. Like, I like that when it's like, you don't have permission to be here. Or when at one point when it locks you in a room.
Yeah, that's cool.
Way near the end. But there's some awesome stuff in that.
I can't let you do that, Dave.
That's what I got to.
Or when you're getting power-ups from the X-viruses, like we said earlier, and they're like, you shouldn't have that. How'd you get that?
Is that the way how they justified the whole other M thing then of like the guy has to give you permission to use stuff?
It's definitely done better in this one.
Oh yeah, but I'm wondering if that's like where it came from.
It could be.
Probably because Adam is a name that she references in this game, which doesn't exist yet because Adam doesn't come out until Metroid Other M, which is years later.
Right. And so it's just like, oh, this guy that she knew. Okay.
But yeah, except Other M takes place before this game because
right, and that's let's flesh him out. let's go all the way.
Let's not. Oh, and to update your earlier claim on a Games Radar top 25 list, Metroid Fusion is number 2.
Excellent.
So
there you go.
Minish Cap is number 1.
Have not played that.
That's
I
great.
have not either, and I don't know why because I fucking love Zelda, but I got nothing.
One of my favorites.
Okay, I guess I know what's coming on next season then. You're right. I need to play it. And another thing, like the bosses, I feel like are very interesting in this game and very varied. And there's not really, other than the one boss, the reference from Metroid 2, everything else is very besides Ridley, everything else is very different.
Yeah.
Except for the giant X parasites that you fight like 2 variations of over and over again.
That's annoying as hell. But one of them is like a giant. What would you call a zombie? Zombie is like the giant plankton that tries to suck you.
Oh,
the one that would turn to a morph ball and have to like bomb it.
Well, you're not. That's not. I would say
no.
You could shoot rockets in the mouth.
It sucks you up, and you shoot with missiles, right?
Yep. The big condom with teeth on it.
Yes.
That's an accurate. Unfortunately, a very accurate.
Yeah.
I don't like him. He annoyed me, especially the second and third time I fought him. He annoyed me a lot.
No, the spider bot that we brought up earlier is probably the second worst offender when it comes to
security
bosses.
Robot bot.
The third time you fight, or the last time you fight it, it's such a pain in the ass.
That was a hard fight.
Yes.
Or it's going back and forth and shooting fireballs at you. And
that one was literally stand in the corner or like at the extreme side of the screen and just shoot it when you can.
Yeah, jump up and angle it down and hope that you hit the weak spot.
Yeah.
A lot of save states. Of save states.
My favorite is probably Nightmare, the little Metagross looking guy.
That was the worst offender. I hate that boss.
That boss is okay. That's the one boss where I had to save state every single chance I could and do it multiple ways to get past him.
The way his like face melts is so cool.
We should talk about lead up to Nightmare. So Nightmare is one that has a huge lead up in this game. First it starts off, you go to a room, you go to a sector, everything's normal. As the game progresses, and you see something flying in the background like a shadow. Yeah. And maybe you would think it's Ridley if you played other Metroid games, because they do this with Ridley, I feel like, at other points. Yeah. And maybe I'm hallucinating, I can't remember. And you see this, and then eventually you go back, everything's broken up, and you're told that something got infected, and you have to go stop it. And as you're progressing through, it's not even a normal room. Like every other boss fight in this game, you'd have an eye door, as they're called, where it has like some stupid red goo on the door, and it shoots eye beams at you, and you shoot it with missiles, and you get powered up, and you go on the boss fight.
Right.
But for this fight, you actually drop down a hole into a giant room with this terrible gravity-enhancing monster. Enhancing, is that the right word? No, but it can control gravity.
Yeah, it's got a TV for a head.
So if you shoot missiles at him, the missiles will just not work, and they'll just fall to the ground sometimes, and you can't move as fast.
Unless you get impatient and just jump up there and just try to make it work.
I mean, he does so much damage, though, to you. Like, it's an energy tank a hit, almost, it feels like. It ain't pretty, and you have to, like, destroy the gravity. But the cool thing is, as you're fighting this gravity thing underneath him, as we were talking about, he has, like, a face mask on, and the face mask will start dripping green ooze as you're damaging him until it eventually falls off.
Then it gets orange, then it gets red.
Man, and then his face starts just leaking. Like, it's a really hard boss fight too.
Yeah, like that's probably one of my favorite body transformation things. I think the final boss thing also is really cool.
Yeah, So I had actually never beaten this game before. Before the show, I had played this game 5-6 years ago, but I got to the end and couldn't finish it because of emulation issues, which we'll get there. Sure. But I was actually really, I was really happy to finally finish this game. But some of these boss fights are so freaking hard. Especially near the second half of the game, they get, like Nightmare and on, they get really difficult.
Ridley is tough no matter what.
Ridley's always tough.
I didn't have a hard time with Ridley because I just charged my beam and shot him, and I was able to tank him because he didn't do as much damage.
The first time I fought him, he grabbed onto me, and no matter what I did, I couldn't shake loose, so he just killed me from hitting me repeatedly.
Oh, F1 fixed that problem. I know I did get grabbed a couple times, and then I would just stay. But yeah, he murders you if he grabs you.
Yeah.
Which, again, like as we've been saying, like this game, like in normal Metroid games, I feel like, at least for the only other two I played, as you progress through the game, you feel powerful. You feel like a badass. In this game, you never feel like a badass. Like, you can kill things quickly, but they can kill you just as quick.
Oh, yeah.
Even old enemies you run into still deal a decent amount of damage as you're progressing through the game.
Yeah, if it needs a missile to kill, it's going to cause you trouble.
Yeah. It seems like the suits don't grant you quite the same defensive buffs that they do in the other games.
No, I would say not really at all.
And this is not Metroid Prime. Which I now really want to play, so thanks.
I do too now.
It's great.
Probably going to be on the show next season that we write. But we're just going to reference all games from this previous season. And like with Ridley, I also like how they do a like kind of a joke at you where you see Ridley's old body from Super Metroid, which would have been the last Metroid game at this point, and then it morphs into what you end up fighting.
Right.
But at the same time, when you look at the canon of the Metroid series, Ridley has been killed multiple times because he's in Metroid Prime 1, I think he's in Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3. Like, he's been dead multiple times, and it doesn't make sense. But again, they didn't know that yet.
But in Zero Mission, it's like a mechanized version, too.
Yeah, but it's not him, I think.
But you fight different versions of Ridley as much, or if not more, than you actually fight Ridley.
It's Neo Ridley in this game. The Wikipedia says this creature is an X-parasite mimicking a clone of Ridley, which Samus had encountered previously in Metroid Other M.
But Metroid Other M comes out. I feel like that game wouldn't even been a sparkle in anyone's eye yet, unless they were already planning at this point.
It's like Dominic said, they just wanted to reference stuff from previous games, flesh it out.
But I guess Other M comes out in 2010.
Well, that's the thing when you like set a sequel like far into the future and you introduce all these elements, you just create so much runway to like, hey, let's go back and like explain it all and show it, you know?
I do like that in games, though.
Or you pull a Konami and Aria of Sorrow, they're like, yeah, man, the great Dracula battle of 1999, and then just never do anything with it.
It's like when Metal Gear Rising was meant to be like a prequel to 4 and then became a sequel.
But that's a good game, though.
Well, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
Or it was the same concept.
And I also, the enemy variation in this game, I think, is also pretty damn good. Like, there's lots of different things that you fight throughout the game. It's not the same enemies. They act differently. They morph into different things. And there's some enemies where you kill them, and then you can't get the X-Parasite because it has to go morph into something else before you can get the X-Parasite. It purposely runs away from you as fast as it can.
Yeah,
that's what's great about having the different biomes. You can incorporate so many different enemies that would be in a desert or in an Arctic place. It reminds me of one of the Resident Evil novels by S.D. Perry called Underworld, where
I know what you're talking about.
Umbrella's got an underground lab that's basically this game. It's a bunch of different biomes set up with different kinds of monsters in it.
So I wonder if I have those. I think I'd have some of those books. I don't know if those are the ones.
They're surprisingly good. I really like that series.
Did Raymond Benson write any of those?
No, as far as I know, they're all S.D. Perry.
Okay.
Code Veronica book is not good, but the rest are good. I unfortunately don't have them anymore. I think I sold them, but they're good books.
Maybe the story in Code Veronica is just not that good.
That game is just not very good.
I don't like Resident Evil, so...
I do, but I have no interest in having what to do with Resident Evil right now.
Like Resident Evil is the game I would do like the way you do it. Like I need a video walkthrough in my lap as I'm doing it. I just don't have them. I don't have the patience for that stuff.
Don't play the remake though. Don't play your 2 remake unless you want to scream and not sleep.
I don't get scared by things very much, so we'll see.
That's what I told myself too. And then I played Resident Evil 2 remake and I wasn't okay. So hey.
If it can actually affect me in the way something like a film like Solo can, then we'll talk.
I couldn't sleep for a night once after playing because I was afraid Mr. X was going to come get me. I'm like, what the hell am I thinking? I know it's not right, but I couldn't sleep. So, yeah, never again. Good game. So, like, Metroid, I do like that this game has so much horror elements in it, and it does put that fear, like you're scared of the SAX. As one YouTuber put it, he said they took the tension and then kind of used the tension to create a fear to make you scared. Because otherwise it wouldn't be scary. Just the tension of being chased, the tension of being so alone in this place.
I'm surprised they didn't have you run into the SAX more often. It's only a handful of times, like 3.
You see them, and then one time you're sitting above the ceiling, one time, and you can't even do anything. The second time, it blows up in air. You can jump in front of it, but you don't want to do that.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, I do like as the story progresses. Like there's one point where the station starts like. The reactor isn't working, and as you progress through a certain part, you start seeing more and more like vegetation. You see all these, you go through the first time, there's no cocoon. You go through the second time, there's all these cocoons everywhere, which you can use the cocoon to get to different places you couldn't get to before, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third time you go back to that sector, the whole place is a giant vegetation mess.
Yeah,
I really like that. And that boss fight is called Notori, but it's a giant plant guy or something that it really reminded me of one of the. Yeah, it reminded me of a Chozo statue that got infected by plants.
Yeah.
Except it's very bad.
Yeah. Everyone says that Nintendo is like the Disney of video games. And I think it's important that there's this major difference in that Nintendo is willing to put this kind of stuff out. Nintendo was willing to go hard and like make this a horror game.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, it is. I mean, I will say it's a horror game. It's just
like
not a hardcore horror game.
Like in more recent years, they're like, oh, we're going to publish Bayonetta 2 and whatever. So they're still kind of having that credibility, but like Disney would never do anything like that.
Disney does, just not under their names. Other companies they own, like Fox.
Do it, you cowards! Do it.
I mean, they release other stuff. It's just not done through their Disney plate, but
it doesn't
they
count.
Still get all the money.
Disney. Doesn't count.
The only boss that really upset me though was fighting the nightmare we talked about. But I do want to talk about the snake guy, whatever the hell his name is.
Oh yes, the water.
Oh god, yeah, in Sector 4.
Yeah, the build up to him is really good though. Where you're told that some monster, like some giant sea serpent thing, is there, and that you got to go fight it, and the X got it, and you see a skeleton in the room of where it was in a water tank, and as you progress, you have like this giant like sea dragon thing that just goes around in patterns and hits you, and I just zap him in the face and just keep taking the hits, but he's annoying. He look cool.
He was definitely about the only one you can actually tank.
I was able to take a few in this game. Just not. There was near the end. The game was not very friendly letting me tank.
I do like
when they do an energy tank a hit. It's a problem.
Like the moving target aspect of that boss is really cool. You gotta like hit it, and then it just starts going really fast, and you gotta dodge it.
Yeah.
And come back and hit it again.
Mm-hmm.
And it covers a good chunk of the screen too. Like throughout its rage fit, it will cover most places, almost every area you can hide at least once.
Oh, that reminds me. I started playing this game on my GBA Micro, which I have. And I found that it was too small. Like I had to have a bigger screen because stuff like that was like making it hard to actually navigate the rooms because it was so small.
It's a GBA Micro.
Yeah, I love that thing though. It's so crisp.
I never had a Game Boy Advance.
I mean, you missed out.
Well, I mean, I played Game Boy Advance games since then. But
yes.
I actually bought a DS for the first time because I wanted the Game Boy Advance feature of it. Well, yeah, no, I know I missed out. GBA, that's why there's so many GBA games I've never actually played yet. Like this is the first time I'm beating this game.
Right.
God, GBA had some good games though.
It really did.
Oh yeah.
You ever play Ninja 5.0?
Never even heard of Ninja 5.0.
It's like one of the rarest games on the system. It's a blast though.
There's so many rare and obscure games on the system too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Stuff like Ice 9 and things like that where it's just like, what is this game? Why is it $100 some or more?
For no good reason.
Just like, it's like, oh, this is just an FPS. Okay, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even like one thing annoying about the boss fights, every time after you beat a boss, like especially, I mean, you get used to it in this game, but like when it first starts off and you don't expect it, you have to fight the parasite, as Mike was mentioning earlier, only has like two forms. It's a giant ball of invincibility. You get a missile off, and he's invincible again. You got to run around, and you get an arm, and then you just continue that process.
Yeah, I didn't mind the ones that kind of like home in on you. It's the ones that you have to shoot the little hole that opens up, and then they immediately shoot back at you.
Right,
Yeah,
some had the eye, some didn't have the eye.
Yeah.
The eye is annoying, especially when you fight the SAX near the end, because that one, it only opens the hole right. You have to shoot your missile or your beam and then jump immediately, or you're in trouble.
Right.
I did not like that.
It's annoying.
That final showdown though was really cool.
No, I mean, I do like it. I like how it leads up with everything with the SAX throughout the game. Like with that fight God, that thing does a lot of damage though.
Yeah. But like, there's like 2 or 3 ways to attack it. You can freeze it with the missiles, you can use your plasma beam, or you can screw attack it.
Oh, I just did plasma beam fully charged because the missiles just froze them. I didn't think it hurt them.
Well, screw attack is weird because you basically start screw attacking each other.
Okay, I did that a few times. I didn't realize it was hurting it though.
Yeah, it hurts both of you, I think.
Okay. I mean, but the lead up when you find out what's really going on, like with this plant, with this lab, that was I really enjoy stuff like that. Cause like, I really love Resident Evil because I love the umbrella thing of how this corporation ends up, being a powerhouse and doing terrible things. I really like that whole idea that a corporation could be that evil where they would, experiment on people and kill people and not care. Like, I don't know. I like that idea, that fiction there. And when as the game progresses and you get deeper into Fusion, you find out that there's a whole section of the lab attached to some sector that blows up where they were replicating the Metroids. Right. And that's what they were really up to on this planet. That's on this thing. That's what they're really there for. I love that. There's Metroids everywhere.
That Easter egg I mentioned earlier, the Federation guy's like, hey, maybe we should let Samus in on what we're doing here. And the AI's like, no, we're not doing that. Are you crazy? Kind of hint at you that there's something nefarious going on behind the scenes.
There is.
But there totally is.
It's a good part. And that's when you don't really do much. You just see a bunch of Metroid. You don't fight any in this game, which makes perfect sense. You shouldn't be because you are one. And I love how you see the SAX just getting murdered by the Metroids, and that's when you find out that there's 10 of them.
And I like that there's that part where it's like you can just run right by it. It's not gonna target you because it has so much other work to do.
Yeah, that's a good part.
Stand there shooting in the background. It's actually a really cool shot.
It's like almost a thing where you guys team up for a thing, but it's like not.
It was probably one of my that's when this game was really growing on me as I was getting farther. I was like, I really like this game. I really wanted to play. I was excited to turn it on and play it once I could get the saving where it wasn't deleting my save every time I turned it off. But it was, and I thought that was impressive because I like Metroidvanias a lot, but I like Metroidvanias when I can actually get more powerful. I don't like I don't like the Metroid part of Vanias where I don't get RPG elements. I need my RPG elements.
Yeah. There's very little sequence breaking in this game because it's so linear.
Yeah.
And divided.
I'm okay with that though. I know that bothers people, but it didn't really bother me. I never had I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I do like how this. I never had a problem with it at all. I mean, this was my introduction to that stuff. So.
Oh, okay. I think that's why people don't like this game because of there's no sequence breaking.
I mean, it's never been about that for me at all.
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't like the linear story and the fact that the game talks to you a lot. I don't mind the navigation room telling you, go here, this is your mission, this is what's happening. I have no problem with that. I don't mind the long elevator parts where she starts monologuing to herself. I like all that.
I really like this stuff. It's really unique, and I think it gives her character that they squander in Other M, but in this game, it's really cool.
They're like, people like that Metroid Fusion. Let's triple down on it. It's nothing but story.
I mean, I still think Zero Mission's a better game from my vague memory of when I played it a year ago or more than a year ago. But again, it could just be I don't remember correctly.
I mean, Fusion is just more cohesive in terms of structure, where it's just Zero Mission has that last sequence where you go off and do the Zero Suit stuff.
That's really good, though.
And there is a way to get back, but it's kind of obscure to do. Where I like this is just once you were at the final point and you beat the game, you just come back to it and it's just okay, free run, have fun.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that. I just moved on, but it's cool that you can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the final, and I also think how in the final boss of this game, I think we're getting near that point. Is I never knew this until I was reading for this episode. I didn't realize that was an Omega Metroid that they're hinting at throughout the game. Mm-hmm. I never picked up on that.
What do you mean they're hinting at throughout the game?
You see empty shells of the Omega Metroid at different point too, I think.
Oh, I don't think I picked up on that.
I didn't either, but the YouTuber I was watching did. Maybe it's not till the end, but I think you do see the Metroid egg or the Omega Metroid somewhere else in the game, and then you run into it, the broken one at the end.
Fair enough.
But you definitely do see the broken one leading up to that Metroid, and I didn't know what that was. I thought it was just another X-Parasite. Did not realize that you're fighting other, Omega Metroid, which is from Metroid Prime, right? Is that what the Omega Metroid is?
I think they were different in that game, though. Or, I mean, there were Alpha Metroids, I know, but they did not look like that.
Okay.
None of the Metroids looked like that at all.
Oh, and the other thing that we should mention, when you beat the SAX, which is the fake Samus, when it dies, it also ends up morphing into some kind of weird monster thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That thing is horrifying, especially the way it the sprite distorts from the little Samus armor to this big nasty looking thing.
I was almost dead. I'm I don't want to fight more. I want to be done with this. And then when it turns into the normal X-Parasite that you have to beat with the missiles, and after I beat it, I was confused because it ran away, and I'm did I screw up? And I went and reloaded my save, killed it again. I was at the end. That wasn't that close. I was right by the end, and I'm
poor man.
Well, I mean, I had save. I didn't reload the save. I just thought I missed it, and it ran away, and I couldn't get it. But I didn't realize it's supposed to run away. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then they recreate the ending of Super Metroid.
Yeah. I could have done without just because. But again, I mean, it's been 8 years. So why not? Let's repeat what we did 8 years ago. We're not going to do it again for our 8 years.
But then Prime repeats what Fusion did. It doesn't make any sense, but sure.
Well, yeah. You can't have a Metroid game without running for the clock to get out before something explodes.
I do like how as the game progresses, Adam finally does tell you, he's because he locks you in a room at one point because you're doing too much, and after you find out about the Metroid thing, and he's not supposed to let you out, and he's it'd be a shame if you turn this thing and crash the station on the planet. It would be terrible. And he unlocks the door.
Samus talks about
heart to heart.
Yeah, because she called him Adam. I mean, it was a Martha moment. Martha, why do you say that name? But, it's okay.
Because
They did it better.
The elevator monologues that you mentioned before, she talks about how the AI reminds her of Adam.
You can't do it worse than BVS.
True.
Oh man, the new Animaniacs has such a great dig on that on that movie. It's like, and if you look to your left, they're filming Batman, and all the crowd goes, "Ooh!" versus Superman. It's real good.
That movie is terrible.
Never seen it.
Well,
it's boring.
I might change that someday, but I don't know yet.
Let me go up to a mountain and talk to my father for like an hour.
It's a bad movie. It's a really bad movie. But okay, back to Metroid. it has some, the whole idea that because after you beat the SAX and the X thing runs away, I do like how they. I mean, I could have done without it, but at least I get my power before you fight the Omega Metroid. My problem with the Omega Metroid is you have a very strict time limit to fight him.
Yeah,
like a minute and a half, I think.
Whatever time you have left.
Yeah, I think you have 3 minutes from where you fought SAX to get to the ship.
And when I played this back in emulation, I played emulation both times, but I played this the first time 5 years ago, and I got to this fight. For some reason, the controller I had was a fake PS1 controller. I couldn't get the diagonal shot up very well, so I couldn't beat him. Because if you don't do that shot right, I even put Game Shark codes in so I couldn't die, I still couldn't get it right and couldn't beat him.
Wow.
Weird.
And it wasn't until with my fake 360 controller I was able to make it work and beat him this time, which I was very proud of because I finally beat this game. And the Omega Metroid fight is all right. I mean, it's just annoying that you can only hit him in the one spot. Yeah, and if he hits you, he stuns you.
Like
it's not tough at all.
The X Parasite thing, they make cool noises.
They do, yeah.
It's surprising. It's a surprising game, like especially with a lot of hate that it gets that it does not deserve.
So many early 2000s Nintendo games get a lot of hate for no reason.
2002 deserves it, but in this case, it does not.
Wind Waker didn't deserve the hate it got. Mario Sunshine doesn't deserve the hate it gets.
I don't know about that part, but
they're all 2002.
Mario Sunshine is the best 3D Mario besides Odyssey.
Oh, Odyssey is so fantastic.
I haven't played Sunshine in a long time, so we'll see. Wind Waker is a good game, though. I'll defend Wind Waker.
I played 64 and Sunshine back to back, and I like Sunshine way more.
That's not saying a lot, though.
Nah, 64 is rough to go back to.
They're both better than Galaxy by miles.
Ooh, hot take.
Never played Galaxy for longer than
Oh yeah, because you have Wii problems.
Yes, I do. Hey, I'm so excited that I can emulate Wii because I own Wii and I own all these games on Wii. Bought multiple times because my girlfriend took my first Wii, but I just hate the controls. Like I'm so excited to map Wii controls to a 360 controller and play it that way.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that.
I was quite proud of myself for getting Donkey Kong Country Returns to work on a controller without having to do waggle garbage.
Waggle. Like, I really want to play Red Steel now again.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I heard 2's better.
I've heard that, yes.
I own both, but, I have issues with controls, so I've never found out. So any last things to say about this game before we move on to questions, comments, and memories, which I don't have a whole lot?
It's good.
Oh, and your Ninja 5.0 is $325 for just the cartridge on eBay.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds right.
It's ridiculous.
Why? Why is it so expensive?
As someone who's been in the pricing game like that before, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, it came out late or something.
I think it was like a low print run.
Yeah.
Okay, I really want to play it. By the way, I've been watching a video on it. Like,
it's really fun,
and it'd be perfect for a mini. It looks like so.
Oh yeah.
And is it the best year ever? Oh no, 2003.
No.
Oh.
98 is better.
All right, let's go on to question, comment, memories. I didn't plug as many groups as I normally do because this week has been hell. So
yeah, tell me about it.
It looks like I know I posted in more groups. All right, I'm going to read from the Metrovania group because I don't have the other one at the moment bookmarked like I thought I did. And first one I have from Brooks H. I played this for about 2 weeks sober, saved my life. Okay, I'm glad this game's helped you out, buddy. It's a good game. From Lewis N. Best sequel behind only Super Metroid. Have you played Zero Mission?
Like I said, usually it's one or the other.
Yeah. I mean, Super Metroid's great. I mean, it's a great game. So Super Metroid. I just really enjoyed Zero Mission. From Ivan Gomez, The Thing plus Metroid, the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
From Jerry Aro, excellent choice. The hardest 2D Metroid game, in my opinion, the most thrilling of them all. Sometimes it feels like a horror game.
That
You
all
ain't
checks
wrong.
out.
Okay, here's a good one from Joe Barnes. While I prefer Zero Mission as an overall game, I think I return to it and remember Fusion a smidgen more fondly. It's such a creepy game and really does a good job of feeling like a Metroidvania. Rather than the typical Metroid game where you start out feeling decently powerful and work your way up to unstoppable, Fusion does an amazing job making you feel like every upgrade just barely helps you survive. You never feel overpowered, but instead just scraping by on the tip of your teeth. The tension is this game is so well crafted.
Yes.
That's
I
all
mean,
true.
the game flat out tells you that too. It's like you only have a 10% chance of fighting this thing, and you get missiles. It's like, okay, you're up to like 20.
This one this I have to read. From Andy Espinola. This is a fantastic game. Read Andy McNamara's commentary GI review, old school. I remember reading it in high school. I don't read reviews.
Yeah.
But
I think it was like a 10.
Andy loves his Metroid.
Yeah.
From Marcus Hunter, classic. Wish for continuation of the story.
Yes.
So do I. And from James Stadgel, might have to play my emulated copy again soon. Never opening the mint one. Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure this game probably isn't that cheap on eBay for a mint copy, I'm assuming.
No.
Because this game never really got... Did this game ever get re-released?
I think it was on the 3DS Virtual Console.
Yeah,
thing.
it was one of the ambassador programs. If you got
Okay.
early adopter for the 3DS, it was one of the free ones you got, but I don't think it's on like even the Wii U Virtual Shop.
Yeah, it's not showing anything but Game Boy Advance for this thing. So... And normally it will tell you where you can buy it in other places on Wikipedia.
Wild.
Which I'm not surprised with Nintendo. As we've said before on the show, Nintendo loves new money. They're not crazy about old money. They want their new money.
Like, all you have to do is slap it onto a disc and people will buy it.
I would buy this on Switch right now.
Yeah, I mean, because it probably, if it was on the Wii U store or the Wii U stuff, it's gone now.
Yeah.
And it's probably, easy. It's gone.
See, you just slap 3 of them onto a disc and then charge $60 and only have it out for like 6 months.
Sounds like a terrible idea. Who the hell would do something like that shit?
Certainly
Or
not
just charge
Nintendo.
$5 for it and also have it be around for 3 months
Yeah.
for no reason.
Nintendo, what are you doing?
Making money.
You gotta open their theme park.
I mean, that's one of my issues with games like this, where it's like, it really should be re-released and it's not enough.
Yeah.
And people don't get to experience it.
I mean, it sucks to say, but that's where emulation just fills that hole.
Yeah,
And preservation is important.
that's why I love emulation the way I do, because it lets you play things that you wouldn't be able to play anymore. Like I had a guy, yeah, like I had a guy want to play Eternal Darkness, and he's like, and I was talking to him because I always help out people when they bring up emulation. I'll tell them I'll give them some information where I can, because I've experienced it. Like especially Eternal Darkness, like that game will never be re-released. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's such a good game, creepy as fuck, but such a good game.
Even though Nintendo keeps renewing the patent for the sanity effects, not that they're going to do anything with it.
All right, here's another one I want. The last one I'm going to read from this group, then I got Overblood group to read. David Scott. I was always disappointed by how linear it was and didn't care what it did to Samus's character. Dark Samus felt like a cliche. I enjoy it more by thinking of it as a survival horror game with Metroid elements. I'm assuming he meant SAX, but...
Yeah, Dark Samus is Metroid Prime.
Yeah. 2, right?
Yeah. Well, the end of 1, but yeah.
Okay. Never seen the end of 1. Spoiler alert. It's okay. I just watched a video that spoiled the entire series, so sorry. I don't care. I forgot to say spoilers for this game, but...
Yeah,
I don't know. 2002. Woo,
It's 18 years old.
Hey, someone got upset with me when I was spoiling Final Fantasy IV earlier this year, so, I mean, he really did get upset with me. He's like, how can you spoiled it? I'm like, the game is over 20 years old, buddy.
Spoiler culture has gone way too far. Let's just spoil everything and just get it over with.
I mean, I don't agree with some stuff. Like when Star Wars Mandalorian Season 2, the last episode dropped, I'm not going to spoil it, but it dropped, and like at noon of that day, people were spoiling the stuff about the episode. I'm like, and in the group, a Star Wars Mandalorian group, and I was like, really? Why? And then people were like, get the admin. Turns out it was the admin that did it. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Good for the admin.
I was like,
if spoilers are all you care about, like, do you actually care about the story at a certain point? Then
it was a big spoiler if you've seen the episode.
I don't know. It's just like one of the things where it's like you should be able to enjoy the story without caring whether or not you know the ending or whatever it is.
Because I play so many retro stuff, I just don't even I don't care. I mean, there are certain games that I don't know that I've never been spoiled on. I'm like, how? Like I can't remember certain stuff. I know there's been things I haven't been spoiled on that I go and play, and I'm like, oh, but
That's why I keep trying to get my wife to play Persona 4 because she doesn't know pretty much anything that happens near the end of the game. That's all spoilery.
I can't even tell you who the killer is. I don't remember. So
we can talk about that later if you want.
Yeah, we're not talking about it here. That will be the 4-5 hour episode me and you do together someday about Persona 4.
I love that game. It's so good.
All right, and I'm going to read a few more questions from the Overblood group. I'm a little bummed I didn't ask for more because I forgot to. From Michael Dunn, really liked this one. I think it was the first Metroid game I played. Don't remember if I played this or Prime first. Hey, same day. And I really got into it. The gameplay and exploration really hooked me in. Completely accurate. From Caleb Zurkowski, the early moments of hiding from the SAX will always stick with me. I can't believe Nintendo found a way to make me creeped out with a Game Boy game. Yeah, it's a good game, though, so that's why. Yeah. All right, and from Stephen McNeely, my first ever Metroid game. I went to Walmart and bought it the Christmas I got a GBA. I got super into this, even though I had no clue what the story was, and SAX scared the ever-loving crap out of me. I remember getting super nervous when the music would stop. So here's that tension again.
Was this a launch title?
No. I think GBA was 2000.
Was it? Wow.
Or 2001, maybe?
Oh, yeah, it might have been 2001.
2001, March.
July, I think, in the US?
June, North America.
June 11th, 2001.
So, hey, it comes up to its 20-year anniversary next year.
Super Mario Advance.
I think Mario Kart was a launch game.
Super Mario Advance, F-Zero, Army Men Advance, High Heat Baseball 2002, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Dodgeball Advance, Fire Pro Wrestling, Top Gear, Tweety and the Magic Jewel. I don't even know what that is. Fortress, Iridian 3D, Pitfall, The Mind Adventures, Ready to Rumble Boxing, Choo Choo Rocket, and Rayman.
Oh, wow. So F-Zero and Mario Kart.
I mean, Super Mario Advance is just Mario 2. That's good. That's probably the only game I had at launch then. Maybe I was a late adopter.
And I'm going to read a couple more. I do got a from Birch Lancaster. Sorry, I can't read. I adore Metroid Fusion. I played it more times than I count when I was a kid. I played through it again recently on an emulator, and it totally holds up. The art direction design still looks great. I remember the clone of Samus being legit scary as a kid, and this thing still haunts me to this day. And he posted a picture of Nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It lives up to that name.
All right, and last one I'm going to read from Chris Lowe. Actually, I'm going to read two more. The art and color in this game made it absolutely the most beautiful handheld game I've ever played. I played this game from beginning to end in a weekend when I borrowed it from a friend and I lost it and he never got it back. That's kind of an asshole move, but I'm glad you enjoyed the game.
Also, the only thing that's potentially disappointing is that when you were playing this game originally, it was on an original GBA, which had no backlighting. It was a dark screen. So I think having this ESP and everything else since then, or emulating it where you can probably see it better, has done a lot to help it.
That's why Circle of the Moon is so lame. It's so freaking dark, even without the backlight.
Harmony of Dissonance is so bright.
Mm-hmm.
And everything glows in Harmony of Dissonance. You never played that one, right? Still?
I never beat it.
Okay, we're going to change that. That's a good game. From Lance Howard. I remember getting in trouble in school when I asked a friend to help get past one of the SAX stalking screens, must be the one near the end. After my guy got me past the part, I was rushing to a save room as the battery was running out, hit the save room right before it died, and the teacher taking my GBA.
We saved it.
That part is terrible, though.
Yeah, teachers, just calm down. Just calm down.
Well, now, I don't know if they even care now. Everybody's got phones in their pockets and stuff.
Oh, some still care. I was just stop caring. It's fine. Let kids have their phones. They have so little to look forward to in life.
Oh, wow. That list I read of the GBA launch titles, that was posted before the GBA came out. There were actually more, because Castlevania Circle of the Moon was one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If someone's yelling at me for not reading them all, that's why.
We're not going to read them all.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
All right. And I think that wraps up that section. We should go to Shelf or Box. And Dominic, since you're our special guest, why don't you go first?
Oh, Shelf. Easily. Okay.
That's happened twice now. That's happened to me. All right. And Mike, how about you?
Like I've been saying, it seems like you either I just said 4 times in the same sentence.
Don't worry, they won't hear that.
You either like Zero Mission or Fusion, it seems like, and I definitely prefer Zero Mission's more open exploration and whatnot. I like Fusion, but the story does kind of get in the way. It's definitely cool they wanted to try something new and explore that a little more, but it's just not my style.
Okay.
I'm surprised.
Going in the box then?
Oh, yeah, box.
Okay. Part of it broke up, so that's why I had to ask.
Oh.
I didn't hear it. I'm sure it came through. So And okay, I'll go last. So this game, I was a little torn because after starting it first and having the issues where it wouldn't work, I was like, I'm not enjoying myself. I still think I like Zero Mission more, but again, it's been over a year, so I can't really speak to it. But I had a lot of fun. Like, I came into this game and I had a great time, other than the damage, like how much damage they take. At first, I was getting really irritated. I remember texting Mike being like, God, they do way too much damage. But after a while, when I had like 10 energy tanks, it stopped bothering me as much because I had enough to tank enemies and not worry as much.
Right.
But it's a good game, and it's definitely worth your time if you haven't played it. I'm going to put it on the shelf, and I'll recommend it to people. And I know one of our friends of the show, Red Fox, he does not like this game. If I remember correctly, he really hated Nightmare also. I don't think he liked this game either, but I haven't talked to him in a while about it. So if he hears this, I can't remember what you said, Rich. All right, and that about wraps up Shelf for Box. And Mike, since next week is definitely your pick, because I didn't want to play this game. I did, but not this version of it at the time. So why don't you do what we're talking about next week?
We're playing Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green also for the GBA.
Yeah, but not 2002. I forget what year it is.
2004.
Yeah.
Oh. And
That's quite ambitious of you.
Yeah, neither of us know what version we played. And neither of us have said what Pokemon we picked, or maybe we said what Pokemon. We've been very quiet about it, so we won't know until we do the episode.
And we're having special guests, at least special to me, so it should be a good episode.
You're excited to have your buddy Austin on?
Yeah.
Okay.
And someone else.
So that should be fun. So look out for that. It's our third Pokemon game of the show.
The first real Pokemon game.
Yeah.
What else did you do?
And if you enjoyed this episode and you need more Metroid, check out episode 43 when we covered Metroid Zero Mission. And if you want to torture yourself, check out episode 1 when we cover Super Metroid with a completely different team. And I did a different format at first where I said what week it was for some stupid reason, even though it doesn't really. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. My headphone's bad. My microphone's bad in that episode. We rant a lot. We talked about Dynamite Cop, I think, at one point.
Oh, good game.
It's a weird episode. It's the first. I mean, it's I mean, that was over 100 episodes ago. The show's changed a lot. But
For the better.
Yes, it has. Because that first one is rough. All right. So if you enjoyed this episode, definitely check out more episodes that we do. We do games, we do movies, we do comics. We have lots we do 2 episodes a week. So definitely check out everything that we have been publishing. We've been going through the MCU. And if you're listening to this, I think Age of Ultron is just around the corner or already out. I can't remember my time paradoxes. So definitely
it's a good episode. Definitely check that one out.
I don't remember anything about it other than that we did it. And that we're catching up. So definitely check that out. And if you enjoyed our awesome intro, courtesy of Bulby, a.k.a. Mike Stoney from his EP Bite the Bullet, Sonic the Cool Kid Squad, definitely follow his YouTube channel. And definitely follow Dominic. You still do a podcast?
Yes, I do a podcast called Dissident Waves. We are on YouTube.
All right. Definitely check him out. You mentioned in the beginning, right? Because I first got to have you go first with plugs.
Oh, I didn't mention in the beginning. I totally forgot.
That's okay. I don't feel as bad then. We both forgot.
I'm also on Twitter if you want to follow me.
I'll post your YouTube. I'll post something for your podcast in the show notes. They will see it there.
Cool.
And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Because I'm on YouTube. I need more subscribers to get my custom URL. I'm only at 62. So come on, people, help me out. Just for 38 more, and I get it. And it no longer says Lone Dragon. It will say something. It will say Game My Mom. So please help me out there, guys. All right. I think that's all I need to say for this episode. All right, and we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.